For years. That's how long Sony has let the FX3 sit on the throne, basically unchallenged. And now, out of nowhere, the internet is on fire because it looks like the successor might finally be coming. A fresh regulatory filing in China carrying Sony's exclusive ILM-EFX model designation just surfaced, and it's got the filmmaking community piecing together clues like a crime board. No official word from Sony yet, zero confirmation, but here's the thing about these kinds of filings. They don't just appear by accident, and history tells us that an announcement usually isn't far behind. So the question isn't really if anymore, it's what Sony is actually building and whether it's going to be worth the wait. Before we get into the upgrades wish list, let's be real for a second. Sony didn't have a bad camera to fix here. The FX3 is genuinely still one of the most versatile compact cinema cameras on the market in 2026. Incredible low light, a body small enough to mount practically anywhere, and a modular design that lets you build it up or strip it down depending on the job. The reason filmmakers are excited about an FX3 Mark II isn't because the original failed them. It's because the competition has been moving fast, and the gap that once felt comfortable is slowly closing. Open gate recording, stacked sensors, internal RAW, better codecs. The bar has been raised significantly, and Sony needs to respond. If Sony gets one thing right with the FX3 Mark II, it needs to be sensor readout speed. Rolling shutter has always been the quiet weakness of the original, that subtle jello effect when you pan past or shoot handheld in tough conditions. It's not a deal breaker for every shooter, but for gimbal operators, action filmmakers, and run-and-gun documentary creators, it's a real limitation. A faster, partially stacked, or fully stacked sensor wouldn't just fix a flaw, it would genuinely transform the camera into something more capable. Pair that with stronger dynamic range and clean high ISO performance rather than chasing resolution numbers nobody asked for, and Sony would have an absolute monster on their hands. Beyond the sensor story, the filing dropped a couple of interesting details. Wi-Fi 6 support is listed, which suggests Sony is thinking seriously about modern production workflows, faster wireless transfers, better streaming capability, and remote monitoring that actually works reliably. There's also chatter around a potential battery change, possibly moving to the NP-SA100 over the familiar NP-FZ100. More capacity and improved USB-C charging sound great on paper, but Sony will need to handle that transition carefully. Plenty of working professionals have drawers full of FZ100 batteries and aren't thrilled about starting over. A smart solution here could be the difference between a smooth launch and a very loud comment section. Here's what Sony absolutely cannot touch: the core philosophy of this camera. The FX3 became iconic because of how adaptable it is. Run it bare for travel and documentary work, add a cage and rigging, and it becomes a proper cinema setup. The FX3 II needs to keep that DNA intact while fixing the few things that always felt like compromises. A better articulating screen is long overdue, especially for solo operators building complex rigs. Improved heat management would also be a quiet win. Nobody wants to see a recording limit warning in the middle of a paid shoot. Get those details right, and this camera keeps its reputation as the one compact cinema body that actually fits every workflow. If these leaks are pointing anywhere close to the right direction, the FX3 II could be one of the most significant cinema camera releases in a while. Not because it reinvents everything, but because it fixes the right things and upgrades what actually matters to working filmmakers. Keep an eye on announcements through late summer and into fall, because that window looks likely based on how Sony typically moves after filings like this. Drop a comment below. What's the one feature that would make the FX3 II an instant buy for you? And if you're into camera news and gear breakdowns, subscribe. You won't want to miss the full coverage when Sony finally makes it official.